And start with today's webinar. First of all, good morning, everyone, and thank you very much for connecting into this webinar session for assessing and answering any possible question or doubt you may have about the biodiversity indicators. This initiative by the Rotate Project Aggregates Europe, together with the Spanish Federation, Anefa, Federación de Áridos, in collaboration with University of Liège and Fundación Tormes, also from Spain and Belgium. In this presentation today, we count with the presentation of 3 persons, in that case, starting with Samuel Bouchon, PhD. Hello, morning, Samuel, from University of Liège and Blue Agrobiotech on the section of biodiversity and landscape. Afterwards, Beatriz Gordo-Infante connected from Spain, the coordinator from environment and climate change from the Spanish Federation of Aggregates, and finally myself, Michael Paris-Coderc, which I am the environmental public affairs officer for Aggregates Europe here in Brussels. Just give the floor now to my colleague Beatriz to explain a little bit briefly what is the initiative and which are the main steps.
Thank you so much, Mikel, and welcome to everyone to this English webinar. So as you mentioned it, I'm going to just quickly answer this question that you can see on the screen. So basically, this initiative started by 2022-2023 on the different aggregate task force and meetings. We detected that we have a lack of data on biodiversity, and we need to get the knowledge of what is happening in the quarries respect to the biodiversity. If we have some species, how is the habitat? We need to get and know what's happening inside. So these things is going to be for us to different meetings with the expert, and we decided to create a questionnaire and circulate that questionnaire between the different quarries around Europe. With the close collaboration of the Rotate project, the European project that is led by Anefa and is the core of this initiative with the Aggregate Europe, we developed the first questionnaire. The first questionnaire that we did was a bit complex with too many questions, and we get the suggestion from the expert to do some updated for this questionnaire. So we reduced the number of questions, and we finally starting to launch this questionnaire by the end of 2023, beginning of 2024. We circulate the first part of this initiative. This means the first questionnaire. So this is how we started to work in these indicators. So who coordinate this initiative? As I mentioned before, the main core of this initiative is the Rotate project, with the close collaboration of Aggregate Europe, in this case our colleague Mikel, and with the support of University of Liège, represented by Samuel, that is in this webinar, and the Spanish Tormes-EB Foundation, that is our colleague Victor, that is expert on biodiversity. And all of us, we work together and really hard to try to develop the indicators. What aims with these indicators? So the first thing is we need to gather information on biodiversity, what is happening inside the quarries and around the quarries. We need to know the different options that they're developing in there, but we need to know also which option they're not developing in there, because we need to create a really high potential for the site, how we can support there to get the information. If, for example, one country is developing specific indicators on biodiversity, or for example another country is not doing it, so we want to support there and know what is happening. The intent for there is basically on aggregate industry as we representative, but we thinking that we can extrapolate this initiative to another industry, but step by step. At the moment we are doing on aggregate. The step that we're developing at the moment is we are on the last part of the level 2 and 3, the last questionnaire, and that is going to be closed basically in less than 1 week. Next Monday we close the questionnaire, and as soon as we close, we are going to get all the information and result and try to analyze. And after that, yes, we are going to publish a document with the result for level 1 and the result for level 2 and 3 for the data 2024. How can I take part of this initiative? So basically, as you are part of the member of the aggregate industry, you're supposed to receive an email or a few emails with the link to the questionnaire, in this case for level 2 and 3, but just one thing, because if you not participate on the first level, before to start doing the last part, we need you to go into the first link for the first questionnaire. So just one thing, this result, if you enjoy right now the first parts, you're not going to be on the result, and the questionnaire is already closed, but we are going to get information for internal knowledge. So from my side, I really invite you to collaborate and be involved in this initiative. If you have any question, you can contact with us and we can support you. As I say, the data is 2024. This means that we are going to continue with this initiative. It's going to be an initiative that we are expecting to do year by year to get information, to try to compare. We're not going to compare queries. This is not the intent of these biodiversity indicators, but the intent is compare different countries and where they are going to develop and focus on biodiversity indicators. This means species and habitat and what's happening around Europe, to try to get more knowledge about these kind of things. So this is all for my part. You can go, Mikel, to the next one for you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Beatriz. In that case, I'll just go very quickly, just for the clarification and as a visual explainer. As you can see on the slide, we already went through the first level on the pre-assessment of biodiversity indicators with basic, it was a basic questionnaire which did not require from environmental expertise from someone. But as Beatriz said, and we would like to highly stress this level 2 and 3 on the assessment of biodiversity indicators. It's a little bit more complex questionnaire, even though it does not require a lot of time to do, but it really requires from someone that has at least the knowledge on the site, on the biodiversity management on the site. This is something really important that we identified on the first level. I would like to address and solve on the second and third levels. Also, just as a visual reminder, we collected for the first level 191 responses from 12 European countries for the year, as Beatriz said as well, from the year just 2024, even though we're in 2026. It's all, again, really important to stress that the data refers to 2024. Next year, we'll just go back 1 year with the 2025. And we have also the results via results brochure in all 4 languages as well on this first data results. On the deliverables, I just mentioned some. In development for the moment, we have the Microsoft Forms questionnaires that you will find in all the emails we've sent out from the site of Aggregates Europe. In that case, in 4 languages available: English, Spanish, French, and German, with an estimated time is that a little bit more. It requires a little bit more of expertise, but it just takes around 15 minutes, 20 minutes or so. You will find the links. If not, we'll just provide it to you again via email. This is again the third and last round of webinars that we've launched for the second and third questionnaires. We did as well for the first level in English, Spanish, and French. Today is the last one in English, and we also provided, for example, we did yesterday through the general email as a reminder, a summary guide of the explanatory manual in which you can find, at least unwritten, some of the possible replies or solutions that you may find on your questions regarding the second and third level questionnaires. And coming soon, just after the closing of the questionnaire, we'll have an explanatory manual, and also, more importantly, the results document, as we did, for example, on the first level questionnaire, the results document in a brochure format, as well as a more visual tool for everyone to see. Also to be distributed in English, Spanish, French, and German. Just as a last update we have as well from our colleagues, we just decided within the coordination team that upon the completion of both questionnaires, that is to say the first and the second and third levels, we'll just distribute to those companies that do so, that correctly do so, a certificate of participation for the questionnaires and this project of biodiversity indicators at European level. We will do at the closure, in that case, of the year 2024, after we have delivered with all the working deliverables. But you will receive, so in the case, that's why we stress again the importance of fulfilling the first questionnaire, the first level questionnaire, if you haven't done so yet, for being able then to complete the second and third level and receiving such certificate. And finally, just as a reminder, as on the red box you can see, all data is confidential. It's just treated within the working group by Aggregates Europe, the Rotoy project, and University of Liège and Fundación Tormes, Spanish Federación de Áridos as well, but also as a member of Aggregates Europe. All data is enclosed and will not be shared with third parties, just with ourselves. This being said, I'll just leave the floor to Samuel to explain a little bit more the body of the second and third level questionnaire. Samuel?
Hi, thanks, Mikel. I'm going to just go question by question on the questionnaire and explain why they are there, what are the meanings, and why you should answer them, and what are the goal of it. So first, the questionnaire is divided in 3 different sections. The first one is dedicated to general information, which is the location of the query, the contact detail of the person answering, and the position responsibility. Why we're doing it? It's mostly because we have track records, and we can always contact you or the person that is answering if there is some, let's say, mistakes in the questionnaires, things that we think should be modified, or asking for the question, or in your case, contact us if you think you need some more help, and we can find back your answer and we can go through. So that's why general information is there, so to communication purposes. Then we have the 2 pillars of the questionnaire are protected species and protection of habitats, which are, of course, different. Species are basically spottings of animals, both animals and flora, and they are targeted towards specific challenges and specific part of the query, monitoring by groups of flora and fauna, and with a special focus on protected species from the red list, for example, or Natura 2000. To identify the main changes which are present in the query and help build better indicators and better practices at the sector level. And then comes the protection of habitats, which is, let's say, the ecosystem which are present in the queries, which can be multiple, relying on the inventory of habitats, which habitats, the characterization of habitats according to UNIS, which is, I'll come back to that later, but which is basically a standard way of categorizing habitats within the EU, and then management action that sites can take towards the conservation or restoration of natural habitats. So these are the 2 core questionnaire of the level 2 and 3. You can change slide, please. So the first question are quite straightforward. We don't dwell too much on them. It's the name of the mining site, the name of the location of the mining site, the contact details, the email address, and the job position. Why is the job position important? It's mostly to have a better idea of the understanding of the person answering, because you can have an environmental expert filling it, or you can have an operator, which is maybe more let's say more knowledgeable with the process of it and maybe less with biodiversity. So sometimes you can observe some disparity, and we can see if some sites are, let's say, better equipped with environmental manager or not. So it's just for statistics purposes, nothing more than that. Next slide. So when we go to the questionnaire, the first question are kind of straightforward, which goes to, do you record species occurrence within the query site? When occurrence, we mean presence or absence. So if you spot a species, do you record it or not? And how do you monitor it? Do you do inventories, or do you just rely on, let's say, opportunistic sighting? Like you see a species, you record it, or do you carry field studies to make an inventory on a very specific method, so that you have, a broader view of the species sets that you have in the query, which is the seventh question. And if you did yes to the seventh question, that you have an inventory of species, can you describe which species do you record? And we go by a group of species, basically arthropod, fishes, amphibians, reptiles, birds, mammals, flora, fauna, and so on. That helps also knowing at the European scales and for aggregates which groups are targeted by the inventories, because we know some groups are easier to spot, some groups are maybe more challenging to spot, and also some groups may be underrepresented, but they do have biological value. So it helps with knowing what's inside the query. Next slide, please. Then when you do inventory, do you target protected species, or again, is it opportunistic? If you target protected species, again, we would like you to answer the ventilation by group, so that we know, do you have protected species from arthropod, do you have protected species from birds, fishes, mammals, so that we can identify, again, at an aggregate level, where are the challenges, opportunities to have a better understanding of the biodiversity which is hosted by the queries. The last two questions, which are how many species which are protected, that's the 11th one. In that one, you can specify which species you recorded. You specify the group, the name of the group, and then the individual, the number of individuals. So that's basically making a counting of it. So you can say we go for arthropod, but if you have a counting, you could say we have 5 species of arthropod and we have 20 species of birds, and so on and so forth. That is also very important, because the counting can make year-to-year comparison, or 5 year to 5 year, and you can see the trends, if the management is actually effective, or if it's degrading the situation for some or beneficial for others. And the last question, if you have a count, let's say a detailed counting of the species, so which species of birds do you have, which species of fishes do you have, and so on and so forth, you can put it in the last question, the 12th one. That can also help with identifying specific challenges and opportunities within the sector. For the 13th question, it's basically, again, the same processes as for protected species, but for the red list, which are even more strictly, let's say, strictly controlled. Exactly the same question. Again, you can go from, do you target them? Which group do you target? I don't see the PowerPoint, sorry. That's which group do you target? How many species of each do you have, and how many countings and of sighting of each species do you have? The last one, the last question. So it's exactly the same framework, but adapted to red list species. Okay, and the last one for the protection of species is, do you monitor the abundance, richness, or diversity of protected species included? So do you have actual counting year to year? You can say yes or no. The protection of habitats is exactly the same structure. So you do have the first question that says, do you record habitats or not? Do you have an inventory? So if you say yes, then we will ask you to, let's say, tick the boxes of which habitat do you have. The categories which are there are from a standardized version of characterization of habitats at the European level. So it's called UNIS. It's a database of habitats. This is what we call level 3 of UNIS, which is already aggregated. For example, you have shrublands, and shrublands can be many different habitats, but basically you just have to say we have shrublands, which is much easier when you deal with areas which are so vast as European Union. So if you have shrublands, then you tick the box, I have shrublands. The same goes with forest, broadleaf forest, coniferous forest, so on and so forth. On the 20th question, we would ask you if you have an inventory of each, if that inventory does have the area of each category, then to put that in the 20th question. So if you have 1 hectare of broadleaf forest, then you say I have broadleaf forest 1 hectare. Or if you have half an hectare of shrublands, then saying I have half an hectare of shrublands, and so forth. So that allows also us to know which kind of habitats are present in the quarry and in which proportion. Next slide, please. And then we focus more on the management action. And the management action means that do you actually conserve or improve habitats in the quarry? Because we know at the European level, you have very different legislation country to country, and some countries it is mandatory to do that, and sites would do that, but in others we know it's not mandatory. So when it's on a voluntary basis, that question is quite important to know if some quarries do go further than they are legally obliged to in that country, or if some do basically what is required but nothing more. And we can have a better picture at the European level in the aggregate sector how much action are implemented to conserve or improve habitat states. And the 22nd question is basically just asking which kind of action do you do? So it's very broad actions, so that you can consult with your environmental expert or your impact studies and so on and so forth, and you can check the boxes that you need. Next slide, please. And then we specifically have a section of the questionnaire addressing the restored habitats. So for now, we've talked about all habitats present in the quarry. Now we specifically go to the restoration part. So after exploitation, some quarry do have to restore, some do leveling, some do actually plant trees, so on and so forth. So in those restored areas, post-exploitation, we will ask you to know if you record which kind of habitat did you restore and how much in terms of area do you restore. Exactly the same principle as before. You tick the boxes of habitat that the site restored, and if it's available, then you specify the area occupied by the restored habitat. Next slide, please. Oh, I'm done then. That was the last one.
Thank you very much, Samuel, for the good presentation on the body of the same questionnaire. Afterwards, we'll just have a dedicated slide for Q&A where we will jump now. We will go off from the slide so we can see each other and exchange impressions or any question that you may have. Just to finish on this presentation from our side, just a brief overview on the next steps and the work done in that case. Just as a major now deadline for next week being Monday the the 23rd of February, we have the deadline for the questionnaires. So you still have from today until Monday, end of business, to please encourage your members or complete, in the case you're already from aside the questionnaires. You can see we did launch it on the 13th of November of 2025, and we did through all the respective webinars in the different languages. Also, in terms of the future working timelines, in that case being subject to change, those are indicative dates for 2026. About moving on from the questionnaire deadline on next Monday, we intend to present the results of 2024. Again, I'm sorry to insist so much on this, but on April 2026, we'll present the results of 2024. And then on May 2026, if everything goes all right for the preparation of such new questionnaires, we will launch against the new round respective from 2025 data. And finally, for the presentation of results, which is an ongoing cycle on 2025 in October 2026. There, we must say in that case that in between May and October 2026, as we mentioned for the emission of the certificates, that should be the period for the closure of the 2024 data and the beginning of the launch of the new round for 2025 data questionnaires, where we would attribute, again, this is subject to change and indicative. It's an idea we've been developing from now, but the certificate should be distributed at some point in those dates. After this, just as a closure of the presentation, please follow us obviously on our social media channels, being either by Aggregates Europe on our website and also on our social media from Federación de Áridos and Anefa, University of Liège, and also Fundación Tormes. This being said, we close from our side. I'll just stop sharing so we can see each other for the Q&A. Thank you very much for your attention. Now we open the floor. I'll open the chat as well for everyone that wants to make a comment or a question. Now is the moment for you. Now it's your time. Eduard, yeah.
Hello, Eduard from Slovak Aggregates. Dear team, I would like to ask you, because we are one of the countries that was not participating on this heat of the questionnaire. I would like to ask you for the 2025 questionnaire that will be kicked off in May, most probably. The questionnaire, I mean, the format of the questionnaire will be almost the same, or it will be, let's say, slightly modified upon the results. I mean, the question is just due to the fact that I would like to, let's say, distribute the material and give more time to our association members to get in touch with that and I mean to be participate and to participate on the next let's say on the questionnaire for 2025.
Thank you, Eduard. Samuel or Beatriz would like you say something on that?
So yeah, I can jump into there. Thank you, Eduardo, for your question. So basically, our plan is we are expecting to try to send it by May. In this case, we are going to send both questionnaires, first level and level 2 and 3, in one email, both links to the questionnaires. So the questionnaires, they are going to be mainly the same. We are going to incorporate some updated and modified a few things, minor things, just to better knowledge to the participant. But I would like to ask you also, because you said that you would like to enjoy this year on the 2025 data. I'm not sure if you have the opportunity to do it, the 2024 data also.
Yeah, I mean, I will encourage our members to fill in the questionnaire number 1 and then followed by questionnaire 2 and 3 level for the internal purposes, as you mentioned at the beginning. But it's hard to say from my end how detailed and how fast it will be because from my experience, for sure there is a lack of experienced and dedicated persons from the companies that are members of our association, because most likely not even multinational companies in Slovak Republic will have a dedicated person. I mean, my employer do not have such a person, so that's why maybe I'm mistaken, but at the moment it will be hard, and maybe that's why also there is a lack of information from our association, that because maybe or it seems that the responsible persons from the from the association members are maybe not really sure. Yeah, but I mean, as I didn't receive any feedback, I thought that there are that some of our members filled in question, but I don't believe that some of them did. So yeah, but we will try. I mean, until there will be a launch of 2025 questionnaire, we'll do our best to participate at least for the internal purposes. Yeah, and
Absolutely.
luckily we will have a chance to get a certificate for the 2025 questionnaire.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, sorry, go ahead, Samuel.
Just one thing to add to what Beatrice said to you. We will modify the questionnaire, but it will be very minor. It's mostly formulation of the question and answer. It's not the core of the questionnaire will not change. I mean, the information that will be gathered, sorry, is exactly the same. It's just to clarify some things that we got as comments. But the questionnaire will be exactly the same as what you see here. It might be some minor formulation tweaks and clarification. So if you want to anticipate a bit, then you can already anticipate a bit. Just basically formulation will maybe change it slightly. But if the member can already, answer some question, then you can already, start with trying to, get people on board.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Same thing, Samuel and Beatriz, but then we highly encourage you to fill in for the 2025. We understand for the deadline is kind of dying now, but as Samuel said, you can always look ahead now, try to be ahead of time, because the questionnaires will be more or less the same. Beatriz, you wanted to add something?
Yes, to Edward. So if you are agree, we can send you all the information and all the link for the 2024 data. If you have time or your members have time, go for it. If not, you are more than welcome to participate on the 2025 data. If you are agree, we can send you all the information just in one email to you.
Yes.
Yeah.
It would be good if you can send me the information for 2024, and
Yeah.
once the 2025 will be launched, they hopefully our members will do the good flow just to switch to 2025. They will train and then they will consume their best practice.
Okay, great.
Hopefully.
So, Michele, you are agree? I can send the email to him. Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean,
So
this
just
is a
I need
reminder
the
for
email
everyone else.
address,
Yeah.
and I can send. Okay, thank
Exactly.
you.
For everyone else
Great.
that again that would like to have a more individualized or personalized response or inquiry, do reach to us via email, the secretariats at Aggregates Europe email, or our colleagues. You have it on the slides, and we will just address it personally as well, like in the case of Eduard. We jump now. We close. If Eduard has no more comments on that, then we have some questions as well from in the chat. First from Carlota Liedwerk. She has some questions about some specific questions in the questionnaire. I'll just share the slides again so we can see them. Carlota, feel free again to intervene. And then after we have Katerina afterwards. But It was number 6 here.
I can answer those. So,
okay. Sorry.
Thank you, Carlota, for the question. First question 12. In Sweden, you have secretaries of specific birds and contents. I understand for protected species, most of the time you can't disclose the exact location of the spotting, and it's mostly the same in many different countries. What we do here is, as we said, confidential, so there is no third-party sharing. And what we will do with the specific species is just accounting, saying, okay, we have 20 spotting of, I don't know, great egrets in the quarries across Europe. That's basically it. So it's completely aggregated, and it will not be linked to your specific site, nor will it be linked to the specific species occurring at the specific site. So in that regard, the data you enter will be aggregated, and it's not going out anywhere, and it's not identifiable.
But we have even problem to send information to our authority, so we are not allowed.
Mm-hmm.
We can't even send it to them.
Okay, but if you legally not allowed, if you don't want to answer the question, you can skip the question and say we have 20 species of birds, and it's fine.
Yes, we have really problem this time to answer on this, because we have some discussion in with our authorities how to send document to them. So I just want to say that there are some problem.
Okay.
I understand.
And for your next question, which is, do you have to do regularly the count? I think it's question 6, the species occurrence. Well, that's up to what you're doing in the quarry. I would say for species occurrence, every 5 years is a minimum to do, because it can change one year to 1 year quite drastically depending on the mobility of the species. So every 5 years give you a better window with less variability year to year. But I would say that if you want to keep track of things, 1 per year, it's a good way. But once every 5 years is, let's say, a baseline.
Okay.
That you get that
so
you can follow.
Then we have to say no on that question.
Yeah.
As it look just now, we are going to be a little bit better, but
yeah, I mean,
but just now, the status is we do it every time we do a natural value in inventory before we get the permission.
Yeah. That's I think what happened in many different countries, that you do that every time you need a new permit. The thing is also, when you do restoration, and especially in very early stages, it can change very fast. So if you skip every 2, 3, 4 years, sometimes you don't see the variability in there, and you're missing some kind of information. But again, it's we don't do recommendation at this stage yet. We just gather data in that kind of project. But I can tell you that when you do inventories, you can always check with your environmental expert what he or she does recommend to you, knowing what the environment, the habitats and species are. But I would say that every 5 years is something that actually helps with knowing what's happening in the quarry.
Okay, just to jump in, maybe one of the points of action that we can do for, and as in the example of Carlota, for the legal compliance, maybe we can adapt a little bit the formula. I don't know if it's possible not to make mandatory the questions so they can skip it. I see Beatriz nods, so I think we can. That's what we can do to try to solve your problem, Carlota.
Yeah, it's not a problem. I can update it. No worries.
We'll just update it after we finish the webinar session. Thank you.
Thank you.